So we're losing species at a rate that's much higher than what is called the background rate of extinction. So of course, just naturally, things speciate, things go extinct. This all happens naturally. But the rate at which we're losing species now is much, much higher than that background rate of extinction. And it's largely driven by some of the threats and things that Lou's already talked about, and we'll talk about more this afternoon. And then, of course, reefs just have what we call existence value, which is just, it's nice that they're here, and isn't there a value just to them being here? You know, and this is really what I think a lot of people who don't have an understanding of the environment or who are not very well educated in the environment think what environmentalism and what trying to protect the environment is all about. Just, oh, isn't it nice that they're here, and wouldn't it be nice to keep them? But really, we're concerned about all the other things. You know, I teach environmental studies, and I tell my students on the first day, like, this is an essential course. Environmental studies is about protecting ourselves. We're not saving the planet, we're saving ourselves. And to save ourselves, we have to save the planet. But in addition to that, it is just kind of nice to have these pretty things out there, in addition to the fact that we need them for our survival. So we need to think about what's the intrinsic value of a species. You know, what is the value of these just existing? You know, what do they deserve to exist, or however you want to think about it, and whatever your sort of life philosophy is. And then economists also do these valuations where they just ask people, they pick a value for something, they determine a value for something by just asking people, you know, what's it worth to you to know that the reefs are there? What would you pay to go see a reef? Or what would you donate to an organization that's protecting a reef? And that's one way of sort of accounting for, you know, people's valuation of just them simply existing. You know, people who may never go snorkeling, who may never visit the reefs themselves, have some sort of sense of worth for them. And what is it worth to you to know that they will be there for your children is another thing to think of, or your children's children, or your students, or your students' children. So it's just sort of this idea that even despite all the good that they do for us, that it's also just important that they're there for their own sake as well. And that's it. So,
go ahead.
I guess I was going to open up for a couple minutes of discussion of how you guys might think that you might present this to your students. Like, how could your students benefit?
First, I think I teach kindergarten and first grade. You need to help them understand and learn what a coral reef is, these ecosystems in the ocean, because I know I myself have a limited understanding, and certainly the children, a lot of students have a very limited understanding, and then build on that with these other understandings of this, you know, why do we want to safeguard them? First you figure out what it is, then you start to learn about the relationship between ourselves and these ecosystems. And
yeah, that's really important, just understanding them in the first place, and then moving forward from that.
I think the idea of what do we get from it that impacts their lives. So when you list like the different medicines, the different products, I think once they realize, wait, if that's gone, then I don't have this anymore, that becomes a big impact. That makes a better connection for them, because all of a sudden something that they touch on a daily basis, whereas, I mean, I have students who've never even been to the beach, and, you know, we're only a couple miles from it, and they've never been there, so that doesn't mean anything to them. That's something they see on TV.
Right.
But yeah, so if they lose like this product, this medication, this whatever, all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, it's something that's that close to me, impacts my life, whether I ever touch it or not. So I think that's definitely a way for them to understand the importance of what it is.
Cause and effect for them to
Exactly.
visualize and absorb, because like she said, it's something you're familiar with, you know, something you have to identify, something they're familiar with.
Right.
Coral, like even Pet Supermarket has a little gram. We have this little turtle in our room all year, and just to watch in the morning, you know, what that meant. So like you watch something like this, and it's like, as much as if we can't get them there, they're not going to connect if they can't touch it and feel it and see it. And yes, I guess the next best step is like a video projected or something, but they have to be able to touch and feel, because we're never going to get it otherwise. So.
The Southeast Florida Coral Reef Initiative that I spoke about, and recently, I'd say within the last 5 years, did a survey, just a general mass population survey, it turned out that roughly 80% of the people that live here in Broward County had no idea there was a reef offshore. No idea at all. And that information and that starts right where you guys are in your classroom. That's where it starts.
Yes.
Also to teach them to like have a field trip for, at the beach, to clean up the beach area.
Mhm.
And also not only the beach area, but waterfronts, canals and lakes, don't throw trash in, encourage
Right. And 'cause it's all
parents and
connected.
families and things
Yeah.
like that. That will, have an impact on them.
A good opportunity is the National Public Lands Day, which I participate and I go over to Secret Woods, but they also do a lot of coastal cleaning as well in Broward County, Hollywood. My colleague and me do it almost every year.
Very nice, yeah.
Yeah,
we-
it's
we've
a
done
Saturday,
these
but we
before.
invite our families, our community to come and join us. They get volunteer hours for charter school, and we always get a good turnout.
Great, yeah.
This is an event that happens every year here in Fort Lauderdale, National Week of the Ocean.
Yeah.
And it goes on it goes on for several weeks, several weekends. So take a look at this card when you get a chance and look at everything that you do. It's done this year, but it comes every year. And it's opportunities for classrooms, for students, for
The school
families.
board does a week of the ocean,
Yes,
where the
it.
students can do different, there's different categories that they can participate in, you can submit.
What month?
April through May, I think.
It says March 29th to April 4th, 2015.
Yeah, March through April.
You can do that right away.
Or exhibition was in May.
Yep.
There is from NOAA, it's called oceanexplorer.noaa.gov, and it's a graphic, and it breaks down all the meds from the coral reef,
Yep.
what they do, where they come from. They let's say a sponge, antiviral drug. So,
Great.
Put it on Edmodo.
yeah, I'll put it on Edmodo tonight because
So
I'm
what
a
is it?
geek like
Sorry, I'm
that.
getting a blank eye. What is it called?
It's called oceanexplorer.noaa.gov. And I just Googled medicines from the coral reef, because I'm such a loser. So,
No, you're using
So,
resources.
it's in resources, because she'll back me up, because she's good
The
like
possibilities about
Oh, like, they have
medicines from the
all
ocean
tons
are
of
limited.
graphics, but this was the first one, but there were tons, so I'm sure you guys will find others. And they had a lot of colorful ones, but this was the first one. I was like, ooh.
Just a little information tidbit.
Yes.
And I saw this on Science Channel the other day. We know more about the surface of the moon than we do.
Yeah,
the
right.
oceans.
How sad
Yeah,
is
that's,
that?
that's,
I didn't
It's a
know
shame.
we got 30% of oxygen from the oceans. I mean, all the children,
Yeah.
133.3%. I mean, kids know about how plants and trees make oxygen.
yeah.
Just for survival,
Algae
that's a huge
is
thing.
algae in the ocean is the most concentrated plant on the earth.